Everybody pays for sex. My name is Jared Mello, author of Radical Self-Respect, Avoid Falling for the Same BS, ebook and audiobook, both available now. And thank you everyone who's been liking, commenting, and subscribing. It's been great to have you supporting the channel. And please do share my content with people who really need to kind of learn about radical self-respect. So, with that, jumping right in today. Everybody pays for sex. This is true. And I hear some guys say, oh no, only loser dudes pay for sex and only loser dudes do this. And it's like, wait a minute. Let's break that down a little bit. And say you take women on dates, you go out for coffee, you go out for drinks. That's all part of paying. That's all part of paying towards contributing towards sex. And then some guys may think, oh no, I just have women come right over. And that's it. They drive to me, they spend their own gas, and that's it. I'm not paying a dime. It's like, no. Yes, you are. Everyone pays for sex, including women. Because, hey, women can sometimes get compensated, but everyone's time is valuable. Everyone's time should be worth something. Now, of course, some people's time is more valuable than others, and what they provide in that time might be more valuable than others, but for every man out there, any second you spend with women, that's time. And that's time you're losing. And that's time you'll never get back. And so, unless your time is worthless and worth zero, everyone pays for sex. And so, men, I don't want to hear it when you say, oh no, they'll even just come right over. And I would never pay for sex, ever, because that's a beta male thing to do. But it's like, if you're spending time on them, texting, talking, flirting, all of that, your time and attention is being spent. And our time and attention should not be given frivolously. Our time and attention should be valuable. So, take this information for what it is. And men, another good thing I've heard, I mentioned this in my last video, is that men should think about the time the way women think about sex. So we should be really conservative with our time. Our time should be precious. Our time should be really our most valuable resource. And so how much effort are we going to put into things that, I don't know, are just to get sex or just for dating? It's like, how worth it is it really? And so to the guy out there who's a little wealthier perhaps, and he wants a sugar baby because he doesn't want to spend all that time flirting, courting, etc. He just wants to get straight to the bang. I was like, hey, more power to that guy, I say. It's like, as long as you're both on the same page, I've got zero problems. And it may actually be a cheaper way to do it when you really think about it, depending on the kinds of dates and whatever extravaganzas you're going on together. And it's actually pretty straightforward too. Like, that relationship is a straightforward relationship. There's not nearly as much BS. And going back to my taxi driver days, I've used to talk to a lot of prostitutes that I would drive around. And I would talk to them about this kind of thing. I've talked to transsexual prostitutes. I've talked to heterosexual prostitutes. I would pick up prostitutes from their pimp at the hotel room and then drive them to their client. And we talk. And I knew what was going on. I would never say anything about it, of course. It's like a don't ask, don't tell kind of thing. But sometimes we would talk about what we both knew was going on. And I would ask them, it's like, with the advent of sugar babies out there today, why aren't you just a sugar baby? Why do you still have a pimp and you're still doing this? And you know what they said? They said, a lot of the sugar daddies are super needy and they don't want to deal with that. They like the fact that when they get to see a client and they're run under a pimp, that, hey, they do the act, they spend the time, there's time for money, and then the end. There is no texting, there's no nothing. And for those women, the sugar baby, sugar daddy relationship gave the potential and the opportunity for the sugar daddy to be too needy and want too much of the woman's time. And I was just like, I was really surprised by that. But seeing how things are right now and the level of simpery I see in the world, it really shouldn't surprise me. And I would like to think men who are wealthier are generally more high value, or at least would treat themselves like they're more high value. But apparently many of them don't either. and they fall full-blown head over heels in love for their sugar babies, and they go simping down the lane, so much so that the girls would rather be a prostitute instead. Think about that for a second. They would rather be a prostitute with a pimp than be with a needy sugar daddy. If that doesn't open up people's eyes out there, I don't know what will. And so I learned a lot about being a taxi driver, and I think you can learn maybe as much from being an Uber and Lyft driver today. I've done all of them. It was a little more interesting in the taxi days before Uber and Lyft came around. A little more regulated now. Not as much of the wild, wild west as it used to be, but you still meet some interesting people. You meet some interesting characters, and you can learn a lot about the world. And one of the many lessons I've learned is everyone pays for sex, no matter what. At the very least with their time, more than likely with dates and drinks and extravaganzas, but everyone's paying. And so I don't judge anyone who wants to be a sugar daddy or a sugar baby or whatever you want to do. That's great. And if you want to be an OnlyFans girl, that's great too, because, hey, I think the guys you pay are suckers, but apparently there's plenty of suckers out there that have no problems paying. And so if they're going to be willing to do it, there may as well be someone to collect. So that's my thoughts on the everyone pays for sex philosophy. Let me know what you think about this video. Do you agree, disagree? Or what are your thoughts on paying for sex? I'd like to hear it. So with that, thank you very much for watching, and have a good one.